Hi, I'm Jennifer Freeman. Okay, so there's this process that I have to do now with paper drawings and sometimes paintings. When I'm in class, I do demonstrations and I do them on paper because it's just easier to handle. And the students, this is Excel by Canson. You can get it at, I'm embarrassed to say Walmart, but it's cheap. You can practice all you want to. You can throw it away if you don't like it, but it feels like linen. The texture is like linen, so we tape them, you can see by the corners, to our paint boards. And pre-tone the backgrounds if we want to. Normally I like to pre-tone the background kind of like I do charcoal. But when we're done, sometimes they turn out really nice and I want to save them. So what do you do with a piece of paper? I dry them pinned to a wall. You can see the holes. I don't know if you can or not, but they've got holes in them where they've been pinned to the wall until they dry. When I really, really like something, I want to mount it on a board. So this is one I did 2 days ago. I just took the same size, it's 11 by 14. I took a cradled panel, just like this, and without even treating it, I used glue, an adhesive, and braid it down with a roller. Press it down with a roller, got all the edges down, and then you lay something flat over the top of it and then you weight it down. Try to be careful on this side. Sometimes you can use parchment paper and it won't stick to the edges in case glue squeezes out of it. But leave it about a day or two and it's dry, then you can treat it, mount it just like a painting. And it's saved me on several paintings that I've done on paper that I wished I would have done on panel. Now I can put them on panel. So now I've decided that I'm going to start doing watercolor. This is a watercolor. It's charcoal, one of my charcoal washes. It's got watercolor added, acrylic paint over the top of it, but I do the same process and I use foam core board. And this was a practice run I did, but the edges are all solid and smooth, and then I'll take a razor blade when I'm finished. These are a couple more I've done. And then I trim the edges to where they fit. I can crop them this way too. So if you want to put them in a standard frame and you don't want to have the frames that you have to pay $300 for because the oddities of the measurements don't quite work in a standard frame, then you can trim these to fit in a standard frame. Just watch out for your cropping. You want to keep your focal point in a good area. Think of that the thirds thing. Comes up on your camera picture where you've got 2 lines this way, 2 lines this way, and then your picture's in thirds, and you want your focal point to be in one of those intersecting quarters. That's a help. It's not the perfect thing, but it does help. Anyway, now, and then I seal the outside of it with cold wax. And you can do this before or after, and you let it dry, and then you polish them, and then you don't have to put them behind glass. This guy told me all about it. It's Julian Miranda. He's a watercolor artist. This is what he did to some of his watercolors and showed me how to do it. So now I am doing it in mine. This is actually a charcoal drawing that I did. It's been covered in wax. Now I can mount it on a simple piece of cardboard and put it in a frame, and I don't have to have the glass in front of it. So this is something I'm going to do later. But what you'll need, let me get these out of the way so I don't make a mess. What you'll need to get started is a damp rag. I have a wet rag. This is clean, actually, believe it or not. I clean up my charcoal with it. You'll need a spatula of some sort. I apply it with this, spread it all over. And you can use matte gel gloss finish, or you can use the gloss finish. Either one this will work like glue. It's for acrylic paint. I use Yes glue. It's a non-acid adhesive. Doesn't affect the artwork at all. So I apply this on the substrate, which is, and with me now I'm going to use it for this. I'm going to crop this to just be an elongated piece. I probably won't put it in a frame. I don't know. It's just a piece I want to hang on the wall. I don't want to, I want to put it out where I can use it as a demonstration piece. But I don't want to lose it either. So if it's just in a loose piece of unfinished paper, then chances are it's going to end up in the trash or torn up. So this will protect it a little bit more. So the yes glue is like a paste. And I will find the area that is where I'm going to want to work. I think I'll do the back side. Make sure your area is, I'm not even going to go over there. Make sure your area is kind of clean. But I will dip this in. It takes quite a bit. With this, I do not have to do both the back side of the paper and the substrate. I can actually apply this just to the one piece, which I like. The gel gloss medium, I felt like I had to do both. I make sure I get plenty all the way to the edge. About like that. And then go over it again. You can tell it goes shiny. It gets shinier as you work with it. It's very pliable. And then take your piece. Make sure the back is clean. Feel the edges where you want to mount it. Make sure that the whole area you're going to want to save is covered. Sometimes these work perfectly. If it was an 11 by 14 like this and I wanted to save the whole thing, it's very easy to line up the edges. If it runs off the edges, you're just going to have to crop it when you're finished. But I want to make sure that I can bend this down and see that my cast shadow and light are added. I go all the way to my edge, and I know that I won't cut off the spigot on that side. Then take a brayer, make sure they're clean. Start in the middle and roll the excess glue out to the edge. Now this is going to move around, so you're going to have to realign it before you completely finish it. But I'm squeezing out the excess glue to the edges. And don't run off the edge because it'll get all over your brayer and you won't know it. If it does, just wipe the brayer off. It presses out any excess all the way to the edges. Now I'm going to check how this is laid out. Slide it down this way just to make sure the edges are down. I probably will trim it before the edges count anyway. Then I'll take this whole piece, lay it flat down on a piece of parchment paper on a flat surface, which you can use a piece of cardboard. You can use one of these covered in plastic, which is kind of what I have. Lay something heavy on the top of it, all the way around the edges. I have long bricks, kind of, they're made of metal. But I lay them all the way around the edges, make sure it's pretty heavy, at least 15 pounds, and then let it dry for 2 days. And when it comes out, it'll be, I didn't have an example, but it'll be exposed on the edges. You just take a really nice sharp razor blade, trim it to where you want it, and you're done. That's it. Then if I wanted to, I could even repaint over the top of it, just to, if I wanted to correct it, I could do that. I would do the very same thing with this drawing. If I wanted to mount it to a piece of cardboard, I would do the very same thing. I would take my glue, cover the entire piece of cardboard, something like this, you can tell it's been covered because it gets darker. But on a charcoal drawing, remember, you have to finish the drawing before you do something like this because you're tearing up the surface of the drawing. Sorry about my dogs. I'm sure it's real important. Okay, I'm all the way to the edges. Wipe my fingers off. Lay my drawing down. I wanted to do this for a long time. And this is okay because I've already got wax to seal it. I rule that from the center out to press out any air bubbles. When something is flattened and there's no oxygen in the middle, it has a hard time buckling back up. So this helps keep it flat to a surface. I run the excess glue out. I don't have it on my brayer. My drawing is now mounted. I'll let this dry. And when it dries, I will be able to trim off the edges and have a really nice drawing that I can now frame. I kind of like this little guy. I did him in class, probably 10 minutes worth. It wasn't that much, but he looks good, so I want to keep him. Sometimes you just have those, sometimes you don't. Anyway, so that's it. I hope that helped. These are tutorials from my classroom because at the very end of the season, we all have artwork that we have not mounted, we haven't framed. They don't know what to do with it. So I'll also do another one on the spray finishes that you can use. You can have a workable fixative, and then also a Krylon varnish that will freeze drawing. Pastel I haven't figured out really what to do with yet because we do these on black paper colored pastels. We have the primary colors in a black and a white, and then we do these awesome drawings, and then these stay so fragile, but I've sprayed them with varnish. I've got to figure out if there's anything you can do rather than put them behind glass. So that's my next venture. Thanks for joining. Yes, I did. Sorry. I'm doing it. It's exactly what I'm doing now.